Hey guys, it's Senti Reads, and as you can see by the video title, today I'll be covering more of the literary masterpiece that is Teased by Trisha Paytas. Go check out the previous video if you haven't already, but as a quick recap, our main character Mary was a waitress. I say was because she lost her job for flirting with Preston, her love interest, who is described as being just as old as her dad, for reasons I don't know why he has to be old. Anyway, she lost her job because she was flirting with him, and now for other reasons, she has to work at a strip club. Why can't she get another waitressing job? Who knows? Who cares? But we're gonna jump right into chapter 2, picking up right back at that strip club. As I enter the back room, I see racks and boxes of clothes, thongs, panties, shoes, wigs, and more. It looks like Barbie's closet threw up in here. Boss man... Okay, can we just give this guy a name? Boss man follows me in, taps my ass. Oh, I don't know if she means, like, taps her ass. That's a little different. And says, wear something pink to match that blonde mop up there. We don't have blondes. What strip club doesn't have blondes? So you're gonna be our little dolly, capiche? I just nod. He continues. I assume you know the drill. Get up there, advertise the goods, then push for the clothes. We sell here. We sell tits and we sell ass. He looks at my ass and gets a firm grip on... Why? He looks at my ass and gets a firm grip on both cheeks. So is he looking at her ass or fondling her ass? Because those are two very different things. Well, you're lucky you got natural tits and pretty eyes, he says. Get dressed. Hair gel out there wants this... What the fuck is happening? Hair gel out there wants this peanut. What the fuck does any of that mean? He moves hands. He doesn't move his hands. He moves hands from my ass to my crotch. So is the crotch the peanut? Because that's a euphemism I have never heard before. And do something about those wife beater marks. What the fuck? On your head. Keep that shit in your home. So she is visibly injured and just... He's the only one who just referenced it just now. Of course, none of the girls are helpful. I watch a few go on stage before me. Most of them don't do anything but dance around the pole and spread their legs to the front row. Oh, that's pretty much the deal. That's like the whole thing you're supposed to do, isn't it? As I'm about to go up, Preston makes his way to the front. How much can she see from backstage? Like, can she really see that he's moving to the front of the stage? Also, it never explained, like, how she actually got ready. We just are kind of, like, transporting forward. So I don't know what she's wearing or... I'll quit bitching. Maybe she'll explain it. I hear my name being called for me to go on stage, and I freeze. My knees buckle, and I feel like I might throw up. I can't do this. It's all wrong. This isn't me. It's not? You've been dreaming about being a stripper for, like, this entire book, and all of a sudden it's not you? As much as I desperately want this to be me, as much as I want to be Priscilla and make money using my naked body, I can't do it. Why? Why all of a sudden can she not do it? I'm so confused. I run into the bathroom, and when I finally come out, Boss Man calls me over and tells me I have a 30-minute VIP with Preston. I don't even know what that means. Well, because there was no training whatsoever. He just threw her under this job and was like, yo, you got it. But Boss Man points to the big rooms to the left. Apparently, Preston is more experienced with this than I am, as he leads me to the back. He places the plant in front of the door, and I swallow all the saliva in my mouth, once again running it dry. He places the plant in front of the door? The what?
Excuse me, what?
Are there plants at strip clubs that you put in front of doors? What the fuck is happening? This isn't going to make for a very good blow job. We escalated quickly, if that's what he paid for. How much did he pay? What am I saying? He can afford this. He tips me $100 for $10 oatmeal and OJ. Also, is that not a huge fucking red flag? I feel like getting a tip that large is actually not nice. It's kind of creepy and, like, kind of implies that he might want something more from that. Maybe I'm reading too much into that, but I don't like it. I don't know anything about him, what he does for a living, if he has a family, if he has a wife and kids. I added that part, but I feel like she cares, but not really. And now I'm going to have his penis in my dry mouth. Well, how do you know that's what's about to happen? I have a feeling that's not. He sits down and I look at him for a minute, then start to kneel in front of him. Whoa, 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 Mary, Jesus, I didn't know you were that kind of dancer. See, exactly, she jumped to conclusions for no reason. Mortified, I turn to walk out and run away to anywhere but here when he stops me with his usual grab of my hand. That sentence was impossible to read. Will you just sit with me, please? He's so sweet and caring and looks a little nervous. His brown eyes stare at me and he smiles. I guess I should have offered to take you away from all this. See, I told you that reference didn't make any sense earlier when she was a waitress. He says, motioning to the cuts and bruises on my head. Oh, he's saying he could take her away from domestic violence? I don't know what you have going on in your life right now, he continues, but I hope you'll at least allow me to help you, make things a little easier for you. I start to get defensive. I come from a middle-class family. I have a 4.0 GPA, and I'm really pretty. And here he is thinking that I'm getting abused by my boyfriend and that I'm a cheap prostitute with no sense of worth. You know what? I can't really blame him for thinking all those things. That's kind of the image you're presenting. I don't need your help, buddy, okay? Your help got me fired from my respectable job, remember? And for some reason, I can't get another waitressing job, so fuck you. What's with the attitude? I'm just trying to help, Mary. Fuck, it's Priscilla, for fuck's sake. Can't you get it through your head that I don't want you? I'm not attracted to you. I don't want your money or your $100 tip so you can jack off to me under your napkin during breakfast. You know, I appreciate the feistiness, but this is really coming out of left field completely, and I don't understand why she's so upset right now. I mean, it's reasonable to be upset that you lost your job, but this is really not Preston's fault. It's Fat Mary's fault for being ridiculous. Yikes, did I just say that? Oh, fuck you, Gwen, for putting that in my head. Shit, I don't want to hurt his feelings. He was just trying to help by giving me big tips. I'm sorry, you're right. I'll leave you alone, he says sheepishly as he starts to walk out. Wait, Mr. Williams, I'm sorry. I've had a stressful day. I didn't mean that. Well, I mean, at least she's self-aware enough to know that her blow-up came out of nowhere. So you were just teasing me, he says in a sexual tone.
Jesus Christ.
What? No, I'm not teasing you. Just, never mind. I never should have told you where I worked. Okay, so his response to being yelled at was like, ooh, so you wanna fuck? Okay then. He walks out and I sit there scared about what to do. Should I walk out too? He paid for 30 minutes. Well, did he move the plant out of the way of the door? What the fuck was that all about? Not more than 5 minutes later, Boss Man barrels through, moving the plant out. Okay, Boss Man moved the plant out of the way. You, little lady, are fired. Part of me is relieved. The other part is insulted. What? I don't even know what's happening right now. I didn't know it was possible for Why? How? I didn't know it was possible for strippers to get fired. Everyone can be fired. What about being a stripper makes you immune from being fired? How did I get fired from 2 jobs in one day? I go to the back room and put away my used panties and pasties. That's used panties? Okay, that's a weird phrasing there. And also, I guess she was wearing panties and pasties. I'm glad we didn't get that description earlier when it was relevant. Well, I got to live out my fantasy for one night. This was something new for me. She didn't even dance or do anything. She didn't live out what fantasy? She sat in a room and for 5 minutes and did nothing. How I yearned to have my boring college life back. I don't really think it was that boring with, like, your friend beating your ass and all that shit that goes around with her. I have a feeling her life is actually not all that boring. I just want to go home, sleep through tomorrow, be back at school on Monday, and grovel to get my job at the restaurant back. Fat Mary knows I make more money for the restaurant than any of the other girls. See, exactly, I was telling you the flirting was a business decision. I'm sure she'll want me back, especially now that Preston won't be coming around again. As I wait outside for my taxi, I see Preston smoking at the corner by the valet. I walk over to him, still feeling a little guilty about what I said. He's a sweet man and didn't deserve my outburst. Mr. Williams, I say in a mouse-like voice. He tossed his cigarette and apologizes. Nasty habit, haven't smoked in months. Okay, so he already was speaking, so just put the apology in the fucking dialogue instead of summarizing the dialogue! Look, I'm really sorry. Today was the worst day you can imagine. You wouldn't believe me if I told you. Then again, I don't want to relive it anyway. I just want it to be over. And while I'm sorry, will you please accept my apology? No need to apologize. I shouldn't have come. You didn't invite me. It wasn't right of me. I'm twice your age. I should have known better. Okay, all these short sentences back to back are like so choppy. You can hear it when I read it out loud. It just doesn't flow right. Heck, I have a daughter who's older than you. Ew! No, ew! A daughter? Preston has a daughter? Wow, he seems a little more human now. Now I feel really bad. I couldn't imagine my dad being humiliated like I humiliated Preston in there. Did she really humiliate him? She just yelled at him in a private room. Like, I don't understand what's humiliating about, like, being told off for fairly reasonable things. Then again, I couldn't imagine my dad going to a strip club at all. And that's a thought I don't want to imagine either. I didn't know you had a daughter. 2. One's 21 and the other is 13. Guess that makes me kind of uncool, huh? Yes, absolutely. No shade to single dads, but, that's not my bag. No, that sweater makes you kind of uncool, I joke. I'm glad my lack of style amuses you. I'm just teasing. You look very handsome as usual. Something in his eyes changes when I say that. His smile fades, then reemerges as some sort of menacing grin. Are grins menacing? By definition, grins are like joyful. This is stupid. I feel his energy change drastically, kind of like the energy I felt in the convenience store earlier. Like, all of a sudden she's gonna be assaulted? Like, what is happening? I don't know what it is. I just sense I should be going. Well, have a good night, Mr. Williams, I say as I head back to the taxi stand. What is this, 1990? Why can't this bitch call an Uber? Mary, wait. I turn around at the safe distance I made between us. Can I at least give you a ride home? No, dumbass, don't get in the car. I think it's a bad idea until I reach into my pocket and realize I spent the last of my cash on that wasted coffee and the cab ride over here. With no other options, I agree. Preston's car is amazing. I don't know what it's called exactly, but it's red and the doors go up instead of out. Given my limited knowledge of cars, that's enough description for me, honestly. It has a nice tan leather interior and it's very low to the ground. Our conversation is lacking for the first 10 minutes, and then I try to break the tension with a kind gesture. You really do look handsome tonight, Mr. Williams. Why do you insist on calling me Mr. Williams? I've asked you to call me Preston. Am I really that much of an old man to you? I feel like my father when you call me that. Well, you did just acknowledge that you are twice her age and have a daughter that's older than her. So, like, yes, you are old and she's treating you like you're old because you're fucking old. I'm sorry, I just like calling you that. Why? It's sexy. Ew, I don't know that that is sexy to me, but whatever. Oh, Mary, I think. What are you doing? You're no longer Priscilla. You're not getting tipped, and you're almost a safety. Why are you flirting? You don't even like sex that much. I find it so funny that she has to like repeatedly say that she doesn't even like sex or think about sex or whatever, but she's constantly thinking about sex. Like, girl, try to convince yourself or whatever, but I'm not convinced. Yet somehow I find my hand on his leg. He holds it and it's so sweet. It's not awkward or forced. Okay, but every other time that he has held your hand, you have described it as awkward, so now I'm very confused. And it's so sweet. It's not awkward or forced. It's loving. Loving? Where's this love coming from? I feel the love, and I might do him if he weren't my daddy's age. Oh, don't say daddy in this context, weirdo. Ew. Would you like to get some drinks, Mary? He asks politely. I want to tell him I want to suck his... Why? I want to tell him I want to suck his dick for being my knight in shining armor 3 times today, but I simply say I don't drink as I move my hand to his inner thigh, feeling him tremble. He's so cute when he gets nervous.
What? What the fuck?
I'm like so flustered right now because I have no idea what is happening. Like, she told him off and then apologized, and also, why is she flirting? Like, what is happening? Why is she, like, getting so horny all of the sudden out of nowhere? Like, what the fuck? Mary, are you teasing me? Maybe, I reply with a reassuring smile. Would you like to go to my place for a little bit? He says, his voice quavering. Why? So he's acting like a nervous teenager? Like, that's not sexy at all. I thought, like, older men were supposed to be, like, confident and sexy, and that was the whole point, but he's just not. Finally getting the idea, I take off my panties?
Jesus Christ.
This is escalating very quickly, and place them on his rearview mirror, and he speeds off in record time to his home. His house is beautiful, just like Bruce Wayne's. I'm sorry, that caught me so off guard. Who knew Mr. Williams was this rich? Well, isn't Bruce Wayne like billionaire rich? Like, he's fucking Batman. Like, how is Preston this rich? Like, I knew he had money, but a mansion, glass walls, an indoor pool, and an outdoor pool? What does he do for a living? I get a little more nervous when he leads me upstairs to the bedroom. Is that really all the description of this house we're gonna get? Like, I know Trisha Paytas is no literary genius, but like, that's all we're gonna get about what this house looks like? I lose my confidence just as quickly as I gained it. He starts to kiss me, but senses my nervousness. Damn it. Wait, so this is Mary and Preston, the two like love interest main characters of this book, and in a romance book, I don't know if this book is technically romance, the first kiss is really important. And we're just getting them kissing for the first time, like as a throwaway line in the middle of a paragraph. We're not going to get a dramatic first kiss. This is just what we're doing. We're just kissing, fully clothed. Well, you did take your panties off in the car. Am I really that rusty? I'm 19 and he's old as dirt. Stop reminding me! Why am I the one who's scared? You're not ready for this, are you? He says, pulling back. I don't know. Can we talk first? Why don't I drive you back to your dorm, Mary? He says with disappointment. I don't necessarily want to go back to my empty dorm room. I don't know what to do, so I think I'll just kiss him. Just go anywhere else. Go to the library and study or something. Just leave. I guess I'm mature enough to handle a makeout session. He's a good kisser, very soft and gentle, and I start to get turned on. His hands run up my legs and under my skirt. Oh, why? Okay, we're just gonna escalate real quickly, and I may or may not read this verbatim, so if you hear some censorship, I'm sorry for being annoying. Hey guys, it's Editing Senti from the future, and I regret to inform you that I'm cutting this reaction short. I don't know how to say this other than content warning for rape. Please proceed with caution. So this chapter very quickly devolves into a very graphic rape scene, and reading it out loud was very disturbing, and I don't feel right about posting my reaction to it. This is sort of my fault for not fully researching this book before jumping in. I didn't read a plot synopsis or anything because I wanted to avoid spoilers, and the part of Elise's video that I watched presented this book as raunchy but funny, and I'm sure she definitely covers the more graphic parts, but I was so not prepared for this, and I'm sorry if you guys were also caught off guard. I think that's what bothers me most about this. I'm sure a lot of Trisha's fans were not expecting an extremely graphic rape scene that completely comes out of nowhere in only the second chapter. I obviously cut my reaction to that portion of the chapter out of this video, but take my word for it, it is fairly graphic. There's a lot of description that is not necessary in my opinion. I'm not at all saying that violent or dark topics can't be written about or discussed, but the scene in this book was incredibly tasteless. It was gratuitous, confusing, and completely came out of nowhere. There was really no build-up to it. It was a very consensual interaction that went bad very quickly. I know Trisha Paytas isn't the most family-friendly YouTuber, but it's upsetting that she'd subject her fans to whatever the fuck this nonsense book is without any kind of content warning whatsoever. Looking at the plot synopsis now of Tease, I should have known that something like this would have happened because they do allude to the darkness in the characters, but I didn't expect it to be depicted with such little care and to go nearly as far as it did. I want to make it clear that despite my over-the-top reactions, I'm not actually a prude or really all that sensitive. I'm a horror writer myself, so I've written my fair share of gruesome scenes, but Tease isn't a horror novel. Well, it is, but it's not supposed to be. It's a wannabe dark erotica written by a YouTuber. I think the rape scene is actually meant to be a little bit sexy, which is absolutely disgusting and upsetting to me. This type of scene wouldn't be out of place in an extreme horror novel, which I never thought I'd be comparing a Trisha Paytas book to. If you don't know, extreme horror is literally a genre that's not me making something up. And those are the types of books you pick up when you really want to read about something graphic, like graphic sexual violence, horrific murders, or really anything nasty and extreme graphic detail. That would be in an extreme horror novel. And while I think those books have a right to exist, I also have the right to decide if that's what I want to read. And I don't think I was fully agreeing to that when I bought what I expected to be a cheesy YouTuber book. I mean, look at the cover for God's sake. It's just Trisha Paytas like smoldering over a lollipop. And as I said before, the synopsis might allude to the book being dark, but it really doesn't do it justice to the level of graphicness this gets. I went ahead and finished the rest of the book off camera, and I don't even know what to say about it. It felt like a fever dream. Mary ends up going off the deep end and murdering Fat Mary in an absolutely disgusting, overly detailed scene, and then somehow Preston gets her out of jail scot-free. It's really confusing. He then essentially kidnaps her, forces her to marry him, locks her in a basement, buys her a dog named Kung Pao, shoots Kung Pao, and then dies when Mary bites his wiener off. Oh, and all that stuff happens between all sorts of other completely incomprehensible things, if you could even believe how much more confusing this plot is. The book ends with Mary going to a mental hospital and mounting a reporter who came to interview her. Like, she literally climbs on top of him and is like, I think like kissing his neck or something. And why staff wouldn't restrain a serial killer and let her climb on top of someone is beyond me. But if I think too hard about this book, I might lose my mind and have to go join Mary in the mental hospital. The things that happen in this book and the detail in which they are described belong in extreme horror, not a YouTuber book. Thank God it's so poorly executed that it leans more comical than horrific, but I absolutely do not recommend you read this book if you are sensitive to any graphic content in any way. It will disgust you. It is not worth it, trust me. Anyway, I think it's about time for me to get off my soapbox. Sorry I got a little self-righteous there. Please feel free to check me in the comments if I'm overreacting or if you have a different perspective on this book. And I mean that genuinely. Please let me know if I'm being oversensitive here. I hope you guys understand that I'm not going to be covering any more of this book. That's all the time I have for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.